So The Family Man is one of my favorite movies, and I've seen it several times because I just think it's so incredibly cute. I also love the acting. I think Tia Leone and Nicolas Cage did a wonderful job, and I think Nicolas Cage also nailed the character arc. I think it could have come across as unrealistic and kind of dorky, but he just nailed it. So, good job, guys. But this is a spoiler alert. I do kind of ruin the storyline. So if you haven't seen The Family Man, please stop this video and go watch it because I think it's worth watching, and so does the other side. They think there's a lot to learn from this movie, which is why they wanted me to make a video about it. So the opening scene of the movie is Nicolas Cage, Jack Campbell, and Tia Leone, Kate Reynolds, as college sweethearts saying goodbye to each other at the airport. Jack just got an opportunity to go work at Barclays Bank in London for a year, and this is a huge opportunity for him, and one that he's lucky to get, and one that he doesn't want to pass up because it's really good for his career. And Kate is kind of freaking out because she's saying that she feels like this is the last time they're going to see each other, and she has a bad feeling about it. That's her intuition, by the way. And she's saying, I don't know what the future looks like, but I know it has both of us in it, and that's really all I care about. So all she cares about the relationship, and Nicolas Cage's character, Jack Campbell, is kind of like, really kind of, this is a good opportunity for me. I really don't want to pass it up. I'm sorry. And so the scene ends with him getting on the plane and leaving, and Kate crying after he leaves. So fast forward 13 years, and Jack has a successful career in arbitrage. He's a very wealthy businessman. He's doing well living in New York, kind of a playboy. They show him being, kind of promiscuous. Single man, very egoic, very focused on money. We can see that he's a workaholic, and he hasn't really nailed the work-life balance because he's okay with working on Christmas Eve and doesn't care. Like, his coworkers are kind of squawking like, hey, Jack, it's Christmas Eve. And he's just like, we got a deal going on, this comes first. I'm a company man, so you can kind of already see that his priorities are very much, money and business. So his boss calls him a credit to capitalism. So that evening, Christmas Eve, while he's at work working late, his assistant gives him a message from Kate Reynolds, his old college sweetheart. Right? And we don't know why she called. All we know is that she just called him and left him a message. And Jack isn't even curious. Like, he doesn't even want to call her back. He's just kind of apathetic about it. He sits there and he's just like, it's Christmas Eve. She's probably just nostalgic and lonely and thinking about the one that got away. Why bother calling her back? It's just, I'm not gonna go there. And so you can see that he's just over it. Like, he just doesn't really care. And so the universe sees this, and they have a problem on their hands because Kate is actually good for Jack. And the problem is that Jack sees himself as perfectly fine. Like, he has everything he needs at this point in his life. And the other side knows that because they're all knowing, so they can see Jack's free will and his thought process and his mental state, emotional state, where he's at as a soul. And they can see that Jack is all in his head. He's, living his life as in kind of like thinking mode as opposed to feeling mode. So the other side is sitting there like, oh man, we got to open this guy's heart, And the thing is they have to show Jack that Kate is good for him. The light speaks through people, so they could have one of Jack's friends just go to dinner with him one night and sit there and try to talk him into calling Kate back, right? Don't you at least, want to see what she wanted? After all this time, after 13 years, aren't you at least curious about why she reached out, blah, blah, blah. The light could have tried to talk to Jack through a friend, but they could see his soul, and they knew that where he was coming from, he wasn't receptive to it. He has everything he needs. He's making egoic decisions, so his judgment is clouded by his ego, and he's not feeling nostalgic. And when she reached out, he didn't even care. So he looks at the path that he could have walked with Kate as beneath him, because in the movie Jack says, I almost married her and I almost ended up a junior associate at E.F. Hutton. kind of blowing it off like, oh, you know, that's beneath me. Like, that's the path I could have ended up with. Like, I don't want that. And so the other side has their work cut out for them because he has lessons to learn about ego, priorities, the work-life balance, values, what's important in life, etc. And they have to show him that he's not fulfilled. So the other side basically has to show Jack what he doesn't have. So how do you do that when somebody already thinks they're fine and they have everything they need and their life is filled? They have to show them what they don't have. And they know the path with Kate would make him happier, bring him more spiritual fulfillment, etc. Right? So they decide to show him the path he could have had. And so Jack goes to sleep one night and wakes up the next morning next to Kate. And this is the other side intervening. They make it very clear this is divine intervention. You know, there's an angel that comes in the movie and everything. And he wakes up the next morning next to Kate. Kate is his wife. He's married to her. They have 2 children, a dog, and they live in New Jersey. She is a nonprofit lawyer, and he is a tire salesman. And it's really funny to watch his reaction to his new life because he's like, oh, hell no. You know, it's not like, you know, oh, this is great. I love it. You know, he's angry. He complains. He's bitter. The kids are annoying him. The dog is, you know, slobbering all over him. He has to take out the garbage. He has to drop the kids off at school. He hates his job selling tires at Big Ed's Tires. He gets 6 hours of sleep a night if he's lucky. Like, he just sees this as just a total fall from grace, right? And you see there's a scene where he's shopping at the mall with his kids and he can't buy the suit he wants to buy. So he's pretty upset at this point. And it's literally, you know, it's interesting to watch because his character is not clueless. He's paying attention. He's alert. He has his eyes open as he's walking this path. So as you're watching this, you're like, okay, this guy is actually paying attention to what's going on. He's not completely clueless. And he's learning, and we can see his character taking it all in, changing, evolving, learning, and growing as a soul. And it's really interesting. It's a really interesting process to watch as you see him letting go of his ego, getting out of his head, and kind of opening his heart. And you can see the ice melting. It's kind of like less of a Grinch. He's softening. His character is softening. And he, at one point in the movie, he says, I was the guy who had it all figured out. No regrets. And he's looking in the mirror and thinking, now I'm not so sure. And we watch him go from egoic to just more down to earth as a character. And what the other side is doing is they're trying to, you know, suppress his ego because it's clouding his vision and negatively affecting his free will decisions. So that's really what it is like, okay, how can we try to suppress this guy's ego? And this is how they do it. They put him in a different life. He also has a light bulb moment in the movie where he looks at Kate and says, you know, my God, all this time I never stopped loving you. And it's a really sweet, tender moment, and it's a light bulb moment for him. And that's when everything changes. That's when he starts acting more appreciative, loving his wife, loving his kids, and getting really comfortable in his new life. But unfortunately, as soon as this happens, that's when the angel shows up again, and it's time for him to go back to his old life. It's like, well, this was just a glimpse. This wasn't meant to be permanent. This is just a glimpse. So now your glimpse is over. You learned what you needed to learn. You saw what you needed you saw what you needed to see. This is, you know, this was the whole point of what we wanted to accomplish. So now we're going to put you back in your old life. And Jack, it's going to be up to you what you want to do with this new information that you've acquired, right? These lessons that you've learned and what you've seen and heard and felt, etc. So it's time, so he's back in his old life. It's clear that he's very bothered and doesn't want his old life. It's clear that he wants his life with Kate. And the movie ends with him at the airport where Kate is about to get on a flight because she's moving to Paris. And it ends with him at the airport trying to get Kate to stay. And I won't completely ruin the ending for you, but this is a very good example of people trading places and getting different perspective on things. That's what I think is the most interesting part of this movie, is where Kate is trying to keep Jack from getting on the plane in the beginning of the movie, and then at the end of the movie, Jack is trying to keep Kate from getting on the plane. So they've completely reversed roles, and that's where you gain perspective on a situation, is when you do have that role reversal. And did Jack view the other side as punishing him? Absolutely. Did he view this as cruel and mean and punishing? Absolutely. Was it? No. This was for his highest good. It was meant to teach and to show and to help him with soul's growth. And it was done out of love. And anytime you grow and evolve as a soul, you're strengthening your divine connection. So the other side was also strengthening Jack's divine connection, trying to pull him to a higher level of existence, where this is the path of, love and spiritual fulfillment. This is the life where you would have everything you need. This is the life where you don't. So they had to show that to him. But the point that I'm trying to make is certain things can't be explained. So when you feel like, your angels have abandoned you or God has abandoned you, certain things can't just be explained to you. Some things have to be shown to you. And this movie is a fantastic illustration of that. So please watch and enjoy, because it's a very, very cute script that I think we can all learn from. And in the meantime, take care and be well. Thank you.